is about the age of exploration and why point of view is extremely important. The explorers go from Francisco Pizarro and his reign of terror on the Incas to Christopher Columbus and controlling the airlocks. This is the age of exploration. We chose these characters because point of view is really important when talking about history.
For example, Francisco Pizarro and the Incas. Francisco Pizarro could say that he was just helping the Incas in exchange for gold, and that he didn't want to kill the kings or make the empire collapse, but he had to in order to make the Incas obey him. The Incans, however, might tell an entirely different story. They could say Francisco Pizarro killed their people and brutally murdered all of their Incan kings. All the people that we chose have different points of view, and nobody ever thinks that they are the villain in their own story. This is why we chose the people that we did. They all tell a different story.
Now, a larger thing of point of view. Point of view is super important when looking at the fights back then. Like Christopher Columbus stealing Rodrigo the Sailor's prize for seeing the first sight of land. Columbus, usually speaking in half fact, half fiction, is a major character in point of view. He did many bad things to people, so he can have many sides to the story. Like the Arawaks or the Incas. Englishmen took over native lands a lot, so there are a lot of different story sides. I, Marco Polo, was born in 1254 in Italy. My father, Niccolo Polo, and my uncle, Maffeo Polo, were gone until I was 15. They traded with the Near East. When I was 15 in 1269, they came back. 2 years later, we went on a journey to the Far East. We had many adventures along the way and eventually arrived at our destination. Wow, it was a hard journey. I was a loyal servant of Kublai Khan for 17 years. I collected many treasures while I was there. Then, in 1295, 24 years after I first left Venice, I arrived back home and my fortune was converted into gemstones. Venice was at war with the Republic of Genoa. Soon I was a prisoner of war. My inmate wrote a book about me called Livres des Merveilles du Monde. Oh, what had I gotten myself into? In 1299, I was finally released. That sure was a happy time for me. In 1300, not long after my father, Niccolo Polo, died, I married Donata Belder. I had 3 daughters named Fantina, Bellella, and Moretta. In 1323, I got really sick. Soon, I'll die.
I'm Nicolo, the father of Marco Polo, and I will market Nicolo for of the famous Marco Polo. My birth myth and I are weight and respected market from Viking. Late we have working here hard. Trading a Viking 1626 and Michael, my friend, I returning to Viking and 1269 with a message from the great Kill for the Greg, my son, more my wife had that were in.
Hello, I am Eric de Red. I was born May 5th, 950 AD. I discovered Greenland and named it Vinland. Me and my Vikings sailed to a big country. I named it Vinland. I knew that every Greenland settlement needed as many people as possible. So I went back to Ireland and was able to convince 400 people to come to Greenland. I sailed out with 25 ships. 11 of the ships got lost at sea. And the survivors carried an epidemic, really bad disease. The settlements were able to survive the disease. Many of the leading citizens died.
Hello, I'm a native Iceland. One of my key essentials for surviving is hunting and trapping. I hunt day and night. Hunting is how we aim to survive. I often spend my days hunting caribou, whale, and seal meat. In order to do this, I use my harpoon head, spears, and knives. When I was young, I had trouble with building igloos. As I grew older, I figured out that I had mastered it after years and years of practice. Now let's talk about the Vikings. All of a sudden, I saw these people wearing weird clothes. They started to attack. I was scared. I was about to run away. Then I realized I needed to fight back. They had all these weapons that were more powerful than the weapons that we had. Someone ran to go get help, but they didn't make it. We had to fight for ourselves.
Hi, I'm Eve Eriksons. I was born in Iceland, son of Eric Dan and Thodelia. I have 3 brothers. One is named Thorgildi, the second one's named Thorgildi, and the last one's brother is Esther. They're okay. I guess. I found a big part of land. It was called Vinland. My father was very proud of me. I'm a very proud Viking with great sons who love to play. One is named Thorgildi, and the second name is Thorgildi. They're named after my brothers. My religion is Norse and Christianity. I love it, and I'm very proud of it. Enough of that. I want to talk about me now. So, as you know, I found a big part of land. It's called Vinland, which means land of the grapes. Because I found grapes there. Also, we encountered these really weird people. They were, I think they were named native of Iceland. I wasn't really sure. They were just kind of blabbering about how good they were. But we were so much better. And of course, they wanted to fight us. So we had to fight them. But we didn't have much tools. So we had to find a metal, and that metal was into a sword. So technically, the metal was made into a sword. But also, we used a shield that blocked swords and bow and arrows. I have to go. Bye.
My name's Francisco Pizarro. I was born in Trujillo, Spain, 1476. I was not a very educated kid. I grew up without learning to read. Instead, I herded my father's pigs. In 1510, I attended Alonso de Oreja on a voyage to Urubá in Colombia and proved that I could be relied on. My first expedition was not successful, but my second one was, and I persuaded King Charles V to make me governor of any new land. Later in my next expedition, I sailed to South America, where I discovered new land. It turns out the land wasn't new, and the Incas had already been there and were busy starting the new empire. Since they recently started building, I easily wrecked their empire and killed many of their men, for they were dumb enough to be using slingshots and arrows. Who would do that? After I had restored most of their land, I captured the king and held him hostage, and killed him. But my crew was mad at me because he had offered a good ransom to be freed. Later on, I founded what is today the capital of Peru. I had many battles with a guy named Almagro, and my brother ordered the execution of Almagro, but instead, Almagro's family ordered the assassination of Pizarro for protection of Almagro, and Pizarro was killed in 1541, in June.
Hi, I'm Chaska the Inca. I live in Mexico. A few days ago, a mean man named Francisco Pizarro came to our land. My dad, Picari, was a warrior, and he died in battle. Now me and my mama, Axel Mama, are fighting to live off of bread and grass. We have little milk, and our llamas are really sick. Many have already died. And my brother, Ayar Colo, has red dots all over his body. Mama says not to worry though. She doesn't think it's contagious. My family was always arguing with the king. Many people have different beliefs and our empire is really weak. I fear one day it will crumble. Francisco has taken our king out to Julapa. He says he will give him back if we give him all the gold that we have. Why is he so mean to us? We gave him gold and he gave us diseases. We served him and he beat us. We fought hard but he won. We loved our beloved king, so we gave him all the gold that we could find. He still killed Atahualpa though. Now he is rich and we are living off of straw. I wish things were back to the way they were, because now Axel Mama has the red dots that Ayar Colo has. I wish things were like they were before. Me and Ayar Colo sitting in the mountains collecting sunflower seeds. Then the men came. The men that chattered along in a different language. The men that wore fancy clothes. We thought that they could help us, because we were running out of supplies. So we gave them all of our goods. They gave us nothing. My friend and I want to run away. I don't want to leave my family, but it seems like the best decision for now. They're coming!
Hi, I'm Pachamama. My parents named me after the Incan goddess of earth. I live in Mexico. I'm in charge of planting and harvesting. We harvest corn, squash, beans, chili peppers, and cocoa, which we use to make chocolate. One day I was in the fields harvesting the crops when I saw people invading our land. It was Francisco Pizarro and his crew. Everyone was terrified. We tried to fight back using slingshots, small arrows, and spears. Pizarro had guns, crossbows, cannons, horses, and 180 soldiers. We had no hope compared to him.
My father died in battle and my mother has smallpox. I am trying to take care of my mother and my little sister Mamakocha. Right now, we are living off crops and we are trying to keep shelter. Our llamas are also slowly dying. Francisco Pizarro destroyed our empire.
Hi, I'm Hernan Cortez. I was born into a lesser nobility family in 1485. That means I was poor. At first I studied law, which was boring. I only did it because my parents made me. So as time went on, I became more fond of becoming a soldier. My first major expedition was with Diego Vaquelas, a conquistador, who set out to conquer Spain in 1511. When we succeeded, I became rich. I was even the mayor of Cuba's capital, Santiago. Even though I was rich, I still wanted more wealth. I heard of a capital rich in gold. I set off with 600 men, 16 horses, 3 ships, and a lot of cannons. When we arrived at the coast of the Americas, I founded a new city, Veracruz. We continued inland to find riches. On the way, I met Melichi, who offered to be our guide and translator. When we arrived at the Aztec Empire, their emperor, Montezuma, kneeled at our feet. I knew this was a trap, so we captured him. We ordered the Aztecs to give us gold in exchange for Montezuma. They gave us all the gold we needed, but we did not return their emperor. The Aztecs became enraged and forced us out of their walls. They killed many of my men. I knew I couldn't defeat them in an all-out battle, but I had a plan. We blocked all the exits from the cities. Since all the food and rivers and farms were outside of the city walls, they had no food. They starved for 3 months. Almost half the Aztecs died. After that, there was almost no resistance. While battling some rebels, some random man told me I might get hit by a rock and die. But that won't happen, right?
Hello, I'm an Aztec and I love art. Art is what we do to praise our gods. We do art like music, poetry, and sculpture. We also do art like jewelry and featherwork. Let me tell you where I live. I live in Mexico and Central America. In 1521, Hernan Cortez and his army killed us for no reason. He just killed us. With 600 soldiers, about 100 sailors, and 16 horses, he killed 240,000 of us, chopping our people into bits and setting us on fire. Hernan Cortez ended our civilization. We lived from 1498 to well when we all died in 1521. I'm sad we all died, the art-loving people of Mexico.
I am so happy to get a revenge on European explorers like John White and other cursable people. When my tribe gave them food and goods for living, they paid us with massacre and attacks. How barbaric. However, I'd love to talk about my life's job. I was a priest, a royal, chief's advisor. Then the first group of explorers came to our island, Roanoke. First, it was a good start. We provided them with foods and tips to help them make living. Next, the second group came. They did bear arms, and that's when the tension began. Finally, the third group moved in. Their demand for food was impossible and insufferable. We moved mainland to gather foods. Then, the white man started killing us. Us! We were scattered. I wonder where Chief Mangina is. Wait, if Chief is dead, does that mean I am the chief? I'm going back to the village where whites are with weapons. On second thought, no, I'm staying here.
I'm a crow hunter, a warrior that hunts and fights all for survival. I hunt deer, elk, cow, pigs, and horses, and eat crops all for survival. Me and my tribe stick together like a big family, and my chief great and as mighty as a king buck. Well, before the white man came and killed our chief and started to hunt us. Ever since that day, life has been tough for us, finding little food and having to hide. I miss my great chief, but all I can do now is hunt and hide. The white men are too powerful. They have shiny weapons and metal sticks that shoot metal pebbles. They're too powerful. All we have are stone spears and bows. I've already seen some of my tribe members get killed, including my wife and kids getting slaughtered. I was mortified that day and vowed never to go against the white men ever again. I have been captured, forced to be their slave, getting paid in little crumbs of food, and the worst part is, if I disobey them, they will whip me, or worse, try to hang me or cut me. I've already seen some of I've figured out that all they want are gold and riches, but we don't have that. I've already seen some of my tribe members get their hands cut off and bleed to death for trying to escape. It's time I escape. I escaped, but I have been chased, and I've been shot, and I was bleeding. But I found some tribes that nursed me back to health. I still miss my family and kids so much. What I could do now is, but at least I survived. In 1587, I fled from Rock to other lands. I thanked all the tribes that helped me, but it's time I fight for the people that I love.
Action.
I am a Croatan. Me and my people live on my Rogue Island. When the white explorers arrived, they claimed this land as new land that they had discovered. Well, at first this was upsetting, but we quickly befriended them. They had new weapons that fired small objects, and they wore long-bodied. They showed us their own kind of spear, which tribe members got their hands on. They brought new materials, and we traded our own supplies with them. We were good to them. We provided them with food and told them when there's another tribe planning to attack. We did this for weeks. They still demanded food, although I didn't have any to spare and barely enough to feed my tribe. They still continued to beg and threatened us if we didn't give them any. And when my father, Chief Pemisapan, who supported the colonists, was decapitated, I felt so sad and even more angry. That's when I realized that they only wanted things for themselves. In order to keep the rest of my tribe alive and healthy, I moved to a mainland of Hawaii. It was best because we would be away from the powerful, demanding, selfish English. My advisor sure thought so. We will probably be safer here.
Christopher Columbus. I was born in 1451 and my father was a simple weaver. I wanted to be a sailor more than anything in the world. When I was 14, I finally got my wish. I became a shipboy. Did you know, after 11 years of training, I became a skilled sailor? Did you know that in 1476 I got sunk by pirates? After that, I went to join my brother Bartholomew's cartographer business in Libsyn. In between 1477 and 1484, I made merchant voyages to as far as Iceland. 2 years into the journey, I married Felipa, the daughter of a Portuguese nobleman. The next year, my eldest son Diego was born. I soon started to envision myself finding a new way to the Indies. Then it hit me. If I sailed west around the earth, I could reach the Indies. Unfortunately, I had trouble finding investors. The King of Portugal turned me down. I pestered King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella for many years. After 6 years of persuading, they gave me 3 ships, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. They also gave me about 100 men. There is a tradition that whoever sees land first gets a prize. On October 12th, 2 a.m., Rodrigo spotted land, but I told everybody else that I saw land first and I got the prize. On November 22nd, the Pinta captain decided to leave the expedition. Then, to make matters worse, on December 25th, Christmas, the Santa Maria ran aground. Our men and I built a fort out of the wood, and I left 39 men to guard the fort and look for gold. Eventually, we got back to Spain. That is only a summary of all the great things I have done. I guess I'll tell you more. Wait, hold on a second. Sorry, I'm out of time. I have to go find new land. Oh, and get richer. Bye.
Cereal is good for kids.
The all-new Christopher Columbus Crunch. It is sugary, sweet cereal with the perfect blend of history of Christopher Columbus.
Did Christopher Columbus actually find the Americas? Is he really the hero we think he is? Find out on the back of your Christopher Columbus box.
We are not responsible for any side effects of diabetes type 1, 2, 3, or 4.
Hello, big world. Today we are studying an astroblade, and it looks like this. Ooh, We like to use this every day to know what time it is, where the stars are, and the year, the month, and the day. Come on, Megan. Ugh. We use this to keep it organized and not be in a hassle. And when we're sailing, we like to direct ourselves by looking at where the stars are on our astroblade.
Hi, I'm Queen Isabella. I was born on April 22nd, 1451. I am the Queen of Spain. When Columbus first came to me, his plan sounded good, but I didn't know if it would work. After that, I rejected him twice. I can't believe it! He came back! He must have been really desperate. I finally agreed, but I would only give him 10% of the profits. I wanted this much because it would make Spain more rich. I'm already living well enough. Columbus only agreed with this because I said he would be named governor of any new land and he would be admiral of the ocean sea. Columbus said he would bring back gold, spices, and silk. That sounds good to me. I decided to give Columbus 3 ships, Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. I also gave him 90 men. As a result of Columbus going on his expeditions, it helped us dominate Europe. It also spread Christianity to a lot of Latin Americans. When Columbus returned with slaves, I refused to take them and asked them to be returned to their homes and converted to Catholic.
I was born in Santa Claus as a son of John II, King of Aragon. My wife, Queensville, gave 3 ships and money for Christopher Columbus' voyage. The 3 ships' names were the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. These ships left Spain on August 1492. Columbus sailed west across the Atlantic Ocean, thinking he was sailing to Japan. Instead, on October 12, 1492, the crew landed on San Salvador, but Columbus fought Japan. Today, I'm best known for my role in inaugurating the discovery of the New World in the future Americas. Since my wife and I sponsored the first voyage of Christopher Columbus in 1492. That year, I also fought the final war with Granada, which wiped out the last Islamic state on Iberian and Western soil, thus bringing the close to the centuries-long war. At my death, I was succeeded by Joanna, who co-ruled with Isabella.
Hi, my name is Siva. I'm a member of the Arawak tribe. We lived in a great place until 3 big Racines came, and the big Racines opened their mouth to let the unknown people come. We tried to treat them nicely, but they saw the tiny gold in our ears. They want us to find gold, but where is gold? We didn't find gold, and they just started to use a long straw that shot black beans to shoot us. A lot of people died with this long straw. Some just got in the big racing and never came back. I decided to escape, but I saw some of my friends try to escape, and the unknown people let barking animals to chase them, and they all died. Should I escape? I think I will escape because they set our house on fire and we will die if we don't escape. It is dangerous. We use a fire to cook. Why do they use fire to burn houses? One of my friends and I escaped into the woods and sneaked away. They saw that we were missing. They will chase us soon. We need to go. I hope my friend and I will survive. Bye-bye.
I want to say a few words. I'm a sailor. I am fortunate to live right about now. So basically, I was born in 1472 in Spain. Where I was born in was Lepe, Hibua, Spain. We used smooth planks and put them side by side instead of making them overlap. Our ships had 3 masts and were called 3 names: mizzen mast, foremast, and mainmast. We used canvas sails that were supported by strong ropes that flew from the mast to give the ship a clean finish. We did chalking between the planks. These ships were sometimes used as warships. Our crews had major complaints about the ships. Our crew complained about little food, water, diseases, cramped quarters, and no washing facilities. I could not take a day without washing. It was really bad. I still could not eat as much as I used to in Spain. As a sailor, I went through heavy rains and heavy storms and torturous rain at sea. I cannot believe some of my colleagues died on the trip. Finally, I spotted land on October 12, 1492. I was supposed to get a reward. Christopher Columbus got the reward, though. That's Sophie's dingle bet. I will get land next time with a reward.
Hi, I'm Diego Columbus. I was born in 1479, Porto Santo Island, Portugal. I was made a page in 1492 for the Spanish court. A page is like a servant. First, I became a page for Queen San Juan. Then I became a page for Queen Isabella in 1497. In August 1508, I became second governor of the Indies. How lucky! Then, in July 1509, I established Terminal Casal de Colon with steel center in Santo Domingo. In 1511, a royal council declared Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, Cuba, and Jamaica under my power just because of my father's discovery. However, Uraba and Baraba seemed excluded because the council regarded them discovered by Rodrigo de Bastidas. Then I spent some time with Bartolomé de las Casas, trying to settle in the Cumana area. With that failure was blamed on me, that meant losing the king's confidence on me, plus losing power over Cuba.
Fellow people, I am John Smith, famous explorer. I was born in January 1580. I soon grew up to sail the Americas. I feared to travel after the failure of Roanoke. In South America, the Spanish colonies found many valuables such as gold, spices, and more. We, the English, wished to do the same. In 1587, we colonized a tiny island off the coast of Virginia called Roanoke. The colonists suffered from a lack of food and were attacked by the Native Americans. Nobody knows exactly what happened to them. On the day of December 20th, 1606, I boarded one of 3 ships joined by approximately 105 other men and plenty of resources such as food and weapons. On the journey, I had no faith in the ship's leaders. Therefore, I was cruelly locked up in chains. Soon we spotted land off the coast of Virginia. Our crew was so excited they jumped off in rowboats and rowed to shore. I was still locked up on the ship. Soon we started putting up huts and forts. Yes, what else should I tell you? When the crew returned to the ship, they were attacked by the Native Americans. Luckily, we were able to drive them away with our guns. Once I was finally free from the ship, I ordered the crew to work faster. I feared another attack from the Native Americans. We managed to fend off the Native Americans and finish the fort. Yes, I see. That wasn't the only trouble, though. A strong tide pushed the ocean water upstream, which made our water undrinkable. Followed by the water came many mosquitoes carrying deadly diseases, which killed the colonists one by one. We started to look for gold, and finally our Captain Christopher Newport decided to set sail for England. He promised to return soon. I was taken as a prisoner by Powhatan and his men. They ordered for me to be executed. Luckily, a young, generous Native American named Pocahontas saved me. She jumped on top of me before Powhatan and his men could kill me with their clubs. Pocahontas was so comfortable being around us that she once went on our ship. She was kidnapped. Our crew kidnapped the poor girl and took her to England. Finally, we left Jamestown and set sail for England. I was so excited to see Pocahontas, my friend from Jamestown. When I arrived, I found...
Tired of old normal trap beef? Tired of dull breads? Wanna feel good? Well then order Western Food Comp's latest all-in-one meal. We provide exotic buffalo meat, sweet corn kernels, 2 potatoes to calm you down. 2 for only 1 for this 3 months. Order right via letters now only for Buffalo Paytons.
So, all of you should come to Jamestown to mine all of our gold and silver so you could get rich, like me. We also have trading posts so you could get stuff you don't have.
Powhatan. I own almost 30 tribes with a population of 14,000. I gave food to Jamestown, but then they wanted more, so I attacked them. Then I captured John Smith. My daughter, Pocahontas, saved his life. I was born in June 17, 1545. I lived in Eastern Virginia. My daughter, Powhatan, married John Ruffle, and then they had a kid named Thomas.
Hello, my name is Pocahontas. I am part of the Pamunkey Indian tribe. I saw ships come to shore a year ago, and I have brought food ever since the new settlement. Just a few months ago, my dad took my friend John Smith and tried to kill him. Luckily, I saved him. Just a month ago, I was kidnapped. I was walking onto one of their ships and they took me away. But it's not bad. A reverend taught me Christianity, I got a new name, and I got new clothes. I married John Rolfe and I had a son named Thomas. Today I set sail for England to convince more people to come to Jamestown. Thank you for your
I am Edward Jenner, and I cured the deadly disease of smallpox. I was an English physician and scientist who was the pioneer of the smallpox vaccine, the world's first vaccine. Many people call me the father of immunology, and some other people say my work is said to have saved more lives than any other human. I was also a member of the Royal Society in the field of zoology. My steps to curing the horrible disease of smallpox started with me being inspired by the time 1492. Many beings were harmed by the horrible disease. I wanted help, somehow. I even infected James Phipps, an 8-year-old boy with the deadly disease of cowpox. I was trying to create immunity, unlike variolation, which used smallpox to create immunity to itself. On May 14, 1796, I took the fluid from cowpox and scratched it into his skin. The blister came up where I scratched the fluid, but he eventually recovered. On July 1st, I infected him again, this time with smallpox. The disease did not develop. My vaccine was a success. My success on the vaccine saved many lives from England, but many of the people that caught smallpox lost their sight. I have to go work now. Bye!